What's going on, guys? My name is Ty, and I have Gabby here with me and Tristan. We are Weddings Made Perfect podcast.
Hello.
We're on all platforms of podcast and also on all social media, so definitely check us out. We would love for that. So like us, follow us, sub, whatever the button is for whatever platform it is. Check it out.
Subscribble.
We are an unscripted podcast now, so anything goes. I feel like I'm on Whose Lines Is It Anyways?
Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
And the points do not matter. 5,000 points for you, Gabby, for understanding the reference.
I have been watching that for the last 3 months. It's a good show when you're like, let's get in bed. We'll be asleep in an hour, but we'll turn on something stupid. That's what we usually watch.
Yeah, it's definitely... I enjoyed it because I loved the improv because back in the theater days, I really enjoyed the Drew Carey and just everything about them, Wayne Brady and all the other guys. Can't think of their names currently, so all the other guys.
Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery.
That's who I was looking for. I couldn't think of their names for some reason. Okay, but we're here. So we got a couple cool things. We got, of course, the tip from Gabby. We'll also go through the topic of the day, which is gift giving. We have a kind of an interesting topic on that that we'll go more into later. And then we'll wrap up the podcast with some little activity of some sort. I haven't decided yet, but we'll figure out what will be. So other than that, and I also have an update, which I guess we could do that after your tip. So what is your tip of the day?
Yeah, so this is something I've actually run into literally today, planning a wedding. So some of you may not know this. If you're just not in the wedding world, it might not ever cross your mind. But some venues require all of your vendors that you book to have an insurance policy of a certain amount. Here in St. Louis, we're finding it's usually around $2 million that your vendor has to be insured. So just so that you know, it might be a good idea when you're going to interview, different venues, if you ask them if that's a requirement, because that can severely limit your vendor options. If you're already in love with some photographer, and then they're not going to be able to work for you at that venue, that you're going to run into some problems there. So just a little tip of kind of something maybe you would never know until it, the problem smacks you in the face like it has today for me. Don't worry, we figured it out. But yeah, something good to know.
So do you actually have to outsource the insurance, or do you it's just the company already has it and you have to pay for it?
Company has to have it. Okay. It won't be any cost to, anybody. It's just whether the vendor has this certificate or they don't. I mean, it's either yes or no. So we at Endy Events luckily do. We have a $2 million liability policy. So that pretty much covers tons of venues here in the St. Louis area, but we do run into this problem quite frequently. So, it's more venues than you think require this.
Is it for all services or only for some certain things?
You know what? That I am not sure about.
So the reason why I'm going through that is because, of course, not only I do work for a company that has it, but let's say Tristan and I go out for our own personal freelance gig to shoot a wedding. Sure. Do we need insurance?
I would say yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'm definitely don't do that.
Yeah, so I know our owner, Brian, has needed it for DJ gigs, photography, videography, all those things. And then the problem I've run into today is rentals. So my bride booked tables and chairs through a company, and they're just planning to pick them up themselves and bring them to the venue. The venue is located in St. Charles, and they're very strict about liability. And because we are picking up the items ourselves, Windheart won't have a certificate made. So if they're doing the delivering and the picking up, they will provide a certificate of their insurance for the company. But since they are not, we have to have that. And so we are luckily going to use our policy to kind of say that we're responsible for those tables and chairs that day.
So for anybody that's actually like a business who's listening to it, who's like in my position that doesn't have it, how do you come about to gain that insurance?
Yeah, you have to go to an insurance company and file
like
for
actually
it.
legitimate.
So I can actually chime in on this. Recently, I was asked to provide liability insurance for a gig. And it was like, the 2 million, that's usually the standard.
That's the flat.
And then the recommended service that seems to be nationwide that was recommended to me to go through was a company called Thimble.
Okay.
Fill it out all online. You put in the type of event, where it's located, see if you get covered for it, because I think that you put in your zip code or whatever the zip code is of the area or the event space. Type in the event space, what it is,
Wow.
and roughly about what you're doing there, and you should be able to get a quote. I think mine, for my specific one, was around $200 or $300
Per month or just flat for the certificate?
For an event gig. So if you have one that's like needs it for the one day, cool. For mine, it was specifically for an event, so I was able to get event insurance.
Okay, so it's like a
instead of just
one-day
having,
thing.
a year.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's an option.
Boy,
that
I
you
wonder
can
what
look into.
the monthly price looks like for a $2 million.
That's
liability. I
wild.
cannot
So
imagine.
like, I'm not gonna lie, I've never been asked, so I don't have it, and I didn't.
God.
I didn't know that it was a thing. Where I get it. I don't know what it fully all covers, but it's just.
Yeah, it makes sense. Obviously, when I brought up this situation to Brian, he was like, well, if something happens to a chair or table, we'll be required to pay that back to Weinhardt. But if a guest, falls through a chair and breaks their back, like, we could really be in trouble there, obviously. So we're a little nervous about that, but
Something to
So
keep in mind.
then that kind of goes on the line of like, for my service though, like what, like I'm not forcing them to like throw each other or put them in a weird situation where they're going to get injured. So like, how does that affect me if I don't have it?
I think it's more for the venue to cover their own ass than it is for you to cover
Oh, so they're
yours.
saying like if I fall off a cliff of like, in Herman Hill or something and I break my leg,
Exactly.
it's okay.
They don't want you to come back at them.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Well, I have regular insurance. So, I have,
Health insurance?
yeah,
Thank God.
that I have that. So, if
Good.
that's all it needs, then technically I have it. But like,
Do you have $2 million on yourself? Because
know.
you should check if Sarah's poisoning.
I have $1. It's probably $1. For the amount.
Deductible off the roof.
Through the roof.
No, but that's really interesting. I don't know. Like, I know you could get insurance for like your gear and stuff, which I've been looking into that because one of my friends,
That is a good idea.
his stuff got stolen and he was able to replace everything.
No.
Yeah, he was shooting a wedding and
JP needs that. I think I've seen him break his lens twice, and we have not been at many events together.
he's just he's an interesting person.
Yes, he is a quirky
He likes
dude.
to he's broken a lot of things. So it's
Many toys.
many things, a lot of cars too.
Yes.
But like I've been looking in for my gear because like especially last event, not last event, but like last year there was an event that I had that was on the beach and I like ran out to capture like a beautiful moment for the group that was happening and they were like celebrating like in the ocean, but I decided because just the emotion was a rise and like you just feel that I like ran out into the ocean with them. And I didn't realize how far out I actually went. And there's this huge wave that came and hit my camera and completely fried my camera.
No.
And
Do you still get the footage back?
no, so I
does it work?
immediately when it splashed into my camera, I immediately took out the SD card.
Oh, good.
Like as it was happening, I
good.
took out my SD
Oh,
card.
God.
And so because that had a whole day's worth of content. And so like if it got corrupted
absolutely.
or whatever, I lost all of that.
Oh, my
So I
gosh.
immediately took it out and I put it in my pocket. I did not do anything with it. I just kept it in my pocket and that was it. And then because ironically my pocket was at least dry, but then my camera was just like it went from like you could see things to like slowly to like a black, and then
my
you
gosh.
could hear the inside and just like his
Were
sizzling.
you just cringing
And
on the inside?
I'm just like because that was not the final day. Like we still had a whole nother day
and
worth
you were
of
out
content.
of
Because you were on
town.
location.
And yeah, and I was on
Yeah.
location.
Oh my gosh.
And so I went out, and they're like, immediately I text Sarah. I was like, my camera just fried, and she goes, "What?" I go, "My camera's done. Like I don't know what to do." And so I'm like freaking out, and so I immediately turn on, because this is right when I got my iPhone too. So I grabbed my iPhone, and because they still are doing things, so I grabbed it, I put it on a small gimbal that I had, and I just threw it on 4K, 60 frames a second, and ran out with my with my iPhone and kept shooting. And immediately the owner
show goes on.
The owner was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "It's like my camera's done. Like it is fried." And they're like, "Oh," they're like, "Don't worry, we'll replace it." So they did replace my camera, which was super cool.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they did. So that the camera that I have now is what they paid for. They paid for me for the exact camera.
Way.
So which was actually funny, because the camera that I actually have, they don't make anymore. So I called up B&H. I go, "This is what happened. My original camera that I bought from you guys This is the situation that happened." They were so cool, where they actually found the pieces and built the A7S II again, because they don't create that body anymore. So because it's just
Were you
discontinued.
able to use some pieces from your camera?
So I currently actually have it. So what I'm planning on doing as for just a project right now is just on a shelf, just hanging, because it's kind of a cool like shelf hanging piece. But what I'm going to be doing now is, for fun, is I'm going to take it apart completely and buy parts and try to see if I could rebuild it. So it's going to be a fun little project. And
Yeah.
also it's just cool as a videographer to like see the inside of the camera and kind of like work it out. But I actually been piecing out. It's actually super cheap to like fix if you know what you're doing. So I've been watching videos and stuff like that. And I'm actually going, like, my project is completely building a new camera. And so I'll have 2 official cameras.
That's cool, because you can almost modify it to like your specifics of what you want.
So I mean, it's not that hard, because like I was like looking around, and I've already opened it up, and I was like, okay, what's this piece? And I was like, I typed in like internal pieces of A7S II, and immediately like the piece that I found that's like water damage, I found it on their site, and it was like only like $30. And then I found like a Century like lens thing, and it was like another like $20. I was like, okay. So like I kind of like did the math. I think in total it'd be roughly around like $200-ish to get all the pieces, and then of course my labor, which I'm doing it, so I don't have to pay myself. So in total, if I could actually get this fixed and work, I only spent $200, and that camera cost roughly over $2,000.
Right.
Nice.
So
And you have the other model.
and I have the other model, so I have 2 cameras then.
That is
so
crazy.
It's kind of one of those things, but yeah.
Good luck.
But yeah, insurance, definitely do it.
Yeah.
So also so I have a quick update for like my planning and stuff. I would love to like share with you guys. Which actually kind of follows, which if you haven't listened to our last episode, it's about 2022 trends and stuff like that. A lot of it got actually inspired from the last wedding. We immediately after that, I went home and started talking to Sarah, like what our plans would be, which you think it would be me that's really picky. It's actually her. She has a lot of like boxes that needs to be checked. And like, you think I'm bad with like my details and precisions on that. Like she's even worse. Like she absolutely cannot have any place that has carpet. She will refuse
I respect that.
to have a place with carpet. It has to have the certain aesthetic and style. Like also it has to be a place where she's able to hang things like on the poles and stuff. Like she's like very like, it has to be like this or I will not get married. So with that being said, we actually went to our first like open house-ish thing for a venue place. And that was at the public old schoolhouse or whatever it's called out in Cottleville.
Yeah.
So they actually, so the inside is just super small, but they have the huge yard. And immediately I showed her about the elevated tents. And I got her hooked on that idea of like this very elegant, like super high ceiling elevated tent
With hanging.
Yeah. And
items.
so we found, so we actually went there because I was just like, well, let's just go there. Well, first off, we brought up the idea of like, because we're trying to keep it local. And I was like, well, let's find a place that has land to potentially do this. And immediately I totally remembered that location. I was like, oh, this is a great spot. And then all of a sudden she like looked it up, and then in 2 days they're like, oh my God, they're doing like an open house thing. I was like, well, let's just sign up for it. So we like, it was just like $10 each. We picked a slot and we went out there and to get like just more information on it. And I mean, I've been there before, so it was more just her just kind of experiencing it. And of course it has like in the background, they have like the cool little tunnel you can walk through. And I'm a big fan of like how they set the ceremony location if it's outside, where it has like that rock area, but everybody's like kind of elevated up on top of the, kind of like away from everybody. Okay. So it's super cool how it's kind of like a theater style where they're kind of like looking down at you. Okay. And I really dig that kind of aesthetic. Also, I just don't want to be on top of everybody. I kind of want to have that space. But then just that huge land, definitely for just like an elevated tent. And they actually, you could rent one. We didn't look at their options, but honestly, we were surprised and shocked how much those actually are, and they're not that expensive. Like it's actually pretty affordable. Oh, okay. So, but if we do it, I have the answer now. If you actually go the elevated tent route or actually doing tents, you will actually cut your price almost a third if you actually went to an actual venue. And like, because I kind of did the math of like, if we went to Stonehouse, and then if we went to the, I don't know what the actual place is called, but just basically I'm just call it public school, whatever, with an elevated tent, I would roughly be saving almost $3,000 on a Saturday. So we definitely want to go that route, I think. And it's just because there's also like minor things that we want to like focus on too. Plus, which I thought was super cool, is one of their preferred vendors for food is Mellow Mushroom.
Nice.
No way.
Yeah. So it was a super cool.
Pizza's delicious.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so like they have a really cool options, and also they have like midnight snacks and stuff like that where you can come in and they'll like give you like pretzel bites, some sandwiches, and like spinach and artichoke and bruschetta, like anything you could think of. Like it was super cool. So I was like, because it's kind of like you guys where you want to kind of keep it super easy, and so you're doing like hors d'oeuvres and like finger foods and stuff like that. We also, for our food, we never really wanted like a high-end plated dish or whatever. We just wanted something quick, easy, where everyone can enjoy it, but it's unique. And immediately when we saw that Mellow Mushroom was there and they were catering, I was like, yo, let's do that. I'm like, that's super cool. And then like, of course, I did the math of how much it would be. And so like, of course, like, it's, affordable for us. And I was like, oh, I'm like, this is so cool. So like, we had a great experience.
So it's a top contender right now.
It is right now. It's top one, but we definitely know that we're going to do an elevated tent, regardless of what's going to happen. That's probably where we're going to go, is like a tent.
Awesome.
But if we do that way, we're definitely going to elope on our actual day at a location that we want.
Sure. So
it gives us a chance to now like open up that option again. Yeah. And I think that's what we like. So.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's
big news.
I thought it was super cool. I have a little complaint still about the thing, but I mean, like, it's just, it's one of those things. To me, it was just super tight in there, but like I understand there's a lot of people there, and of course they're kind of focusing on the people that are wanting to book just now. Totally understand. But it was very difficult to get any information. So it's one of those places where it got to the point that I was like, yeah, we'll just do like a private tour and just say like, hey, we were there, but it was just difficult to get any information because any single time like we try to like talk to somebody, they were already working on somebody else. And like,
I mean, it's one of those things too where it's like, yeah, you can go to an open house and get some feels for it, but you definitely don't want to sign a contract before you like sit down with somebody one-on-one and go over all the details. Because I mean, we had tons of questions that we didn't even know we needed to ask, but while we were there, we're like, oh yeah, like what about this? How does that work? Do we have to be out at blah 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 time right on the dot, or do we have a little time extra? You know what I mean?
Well, they had a lot of good deals which was fine. But then also they said that they apparently have like a whole nother like building for like a reception area called the Four Seasons. And I'm like, is that
That's a hotel.
Is that Four Seasons downtown?
Yeah.
Or is, so I didn't get that answer though, because.
Or maybe it's a Four Seasons room.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, is there like are they like outsourcing a location for a reception? And so where like you go there for the ceremony and then you go there for the reception? Like,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
but the only
Two
problem is
different
they didn't have any pictures of that,
Yeah.
or they didn't have like any like information. So like that was one of my questions of like, is this like an off-site reception? Because that would make sense, because at that location you just have that small building, the ceremony in the background, and then that huge yard to do an elevated tent.
Right.
So it was just kind of that like weird, just
Yeah, you got some questions to ask.
got some questions, need some answers.
Something to good first touch, though.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now with things coming up?
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot better now that we've locked down florists and catering. We're going local on the florist. It's Lawrence Florist, just off of 2nd Street.
Yeah, I know them.
You doing all fresh flowers or just for
We're
bouquets?
doing fresh flowers.
All
Yeah,
fresh
we're doing
flowers?
bouquets. We're going through with flower crowns for the for Emma, and then also
Beautiful.
for our flower girls, and then fresh petals for
Awesome.
the
That's so
baskets and
cool.
everything like that.
I like that idea.
I'm thinking about a flower crown just because I
They're
have
so
short hair, so it's not gonna like I won't be able to do like an updo or anything.
It is stunning when people do a flower crown. Like it's
I just don't
super
want it
cool.
to be like huge. Like I don't want to feel like a planet. You know what I mean?
Saturn.
Right.
Seriously though.
It started spinning around, like
But
orbit
like
everybody.
I've been looking at them and I'm like really in love with just baby's breath and how like kind of fresh and easy it is. So I was thinking maybe just that and it'd be super simple.
Yeah,
I
it'll
don't
be
know.
easy. Yeah, we're doing roses for her, and then matching boutonniere for me, and then for my ushers. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool.
No, it feels good. I feel the last thing we just need to look at is she's having second thoughts on what actually she wants to wear. So we're looking into cheaper options for wedding dresses.
Did she have one picked out?
We had one hand-me-down from her
Okay,
mom,
gotcha.
and it changed hands, but it just didn't feel right for her. Even though it fits like a glove
Yeah.
perfectly, which is incredible,
Yeah.
but it just didn't. It's looking like it's probably not going to be the right
Style.
fit or
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
with her.
That's understandable.
Totally respect that.
I mean,
That's one of the biggest parts.
I've
not
seen a lot
things
of
matter, but that's kind of one. That
I've seen a
makes
lot
me
of say
like-
yes to the dress, and it's the whole. If
The
you don't,
emotional
if you don't
moment.
see yourself
Yeah.
wearing that on that day,
I'm
like it's definitely
questionable on if that's a real thing or not, but I haven't experienced
No. Well,
it.
come on, you're going to experience that.
I
That's
don't know.
bullshit.
I'm just very under emotional. I feel like
No,
I feel like
so-
I'm less emotional.
Okay,
than some.
so I feel like when it's something that's super significant for you and like you've been waiting for this moment, like it doesn't matter how tough you are, like you're going to, like for example, like I don't cry as much, but like anything that involves Sarah, like I'm a baby.
I know. I'm like terrified though that I'm gonna like the day's gonna come and I'm just gonna be all tears all day.
No,
How
it's
do you
just
stop it? How do you stop crying?
you,
you're
it's
crying?
just so many emotions, like especially if you don't experience emotions just regularly, like it's bottled up to the point that you're going
Oh,
to be
gosh.
just a mess. It's just it's gonna happen, that or you're gonna just bottle up and get very angry and you're gonna be very aggressive towards everybody.
I've heard something that if you like squeeze yourself like right here, I think it
Oh,
makes
you're
you
looking for a remedy. Okay.
stop crying. I am.
You're like
I
getting,
am.
see, now you're overthinking it. Now you're going to be
I know. Terrified.
no.
I don't want to be a big blubbering baby up there.
But it's okay if you.
That's okay. I will be.
Except
I know
that
I will.
I've seen some ceremonies on the videos where you like hear the like officiant speaking, and in the background all you hear is
So the whole okay. So for example, my proposal, like for example, I am a guy that's super outgoing. I could just do it in front of thousands of people, like super easy, right? That moment, I am shaking. I'm bawling my eyes out. I couldn't even say my speech that I wrote. I couldn't say anything. And because it was at a summer camp, every single like leader or like adults, we had to do nicknames for like a hero that's inspired you. And so I didn't even say her name. I accidentally said her nickname instead. So instead of saying Sarah Gloria, will you marry me? I go, Cindy, will you marry me? So like Literally, like, yeah. So yeah, I said that because because it's the
That's a cute
kids.
story,
So
though.
like it's a cute story, but not how I wanted it.
Boy.
I didn't want that.
Don't do that at the altar.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I will write it in the vows though, because
Sydney, Sarah.
Sydney. Everybody who went to the camp will understand, but everybody else will be like, and I'll be like,
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, like, everybody that I know, I don't know a Sydney, but yeah, it was just
For all you Sydneys out there.
oh my gosh, it was just. But yeah, I mean, like, for example, I was prepared. I mean, I've like months of planning, everything, everything was coming up to that moment. But then, like, as it was happening, like, everything just goes in one ear out the other. Like, it just immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line is you could be prepared for anything, but until it actually happens, until the day comes.
Yeah, it's just so. But I mean, like, that's what I'm saying though. It's once you know, you put on a dress and you're just like, this is it. Like, you're gonna.
We'll see.
You're gonna feel it.
Do you find
see.
yourself
You
trying
can
to
get
dress
all-
often?
No.
All the gooses.
I haven't even started.
All the gooses. That's what I'm saying. Like, once you get into that, then it's then you get the goosies.
So that's the last thing. The last like big thing is finding out what we're gonna actually wear. But otherwise, feel good about it.
That's
Good
good, man.
stuff.
That's awesome. That's super cool. I'm excited for it because
Me too.
I went to my first wedding on last Friday, and
Wedding, not
like
where you're shooting,
like
where
not
you're
shooting,
anything,
just
you're-
not
That
doing
was your
anything
You're just
first
attending.
guest attendance wedding?
since
Oh. That's
since I
different.
was 13,
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
and technically, not even then. Like, I was a part of the wedding, so. Yeah, every single wedding that I've been on, like, I mean, yeah, there's been moments where I was able, for example, I've done weddings where I will shoot because they wanted me to shoot it, but then after like 8:30 or something, they told me to put up my camera and enjoy myself. But no, this was like beginning to end. I walked in, I didn't do anything. I went to the ceremony
That sounds so weird.
and
I
just
did not know what to
watch.
do with myself.
I was very like I was
Everything else.
I was judging everything, which was awful, totally awful.
Oh, no, it's
but
the best. What do
it's-
you mean?
I was judging.
That's what you do as a wedding guest.
I was judging everything.
If there was anybody to actually know and have like a 2 cents about it, there'd be somebody in this
Yeah.
room.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no TVs with the game on or anything. What else are you supposed to do while you're
trying
guesting?
like, I don't know. I was completely judging the dude's Ronan was way out of balance, and I'm just like, this dude is just
Oh
I don't know
my
what he
gosh.
wants. Like, he's not doing it right. And then I don't know. There's a lot of moments, and it was cool, but it felt weird. It just felt weird not doing anything. And then
Were you slightly guilty sitting there?
I did
Like you should be doing
because she
something?
wanted me to do it, but then she's just like, but I really want you to, because the bride she was like our model / actor. She was kind of like, I was explaining to him as we're driving. She was like my ride or die actor for college. Like, she got me tons of A's. We've won so many film festivals. Like, she was my main actor
Cool.
for a lot of things. And so yeah, she was kind of like my ride or die through college, and super cool. So she actually wanted me to shoot the wedding, but I just, she was like, but I really want you to enjoy it because you never get to really enjoy weddings. And so it was cool, but it was definitely interesting because there was a moment in the cocktail hour where we're sitting and talking, and like, I wasn't trying to sound like an asshole, but it was just kind of funny at the moment. And the dude kind of laughed. And then, but immediately was just like, you do this. Like, he immediately knew I could.
Sure.
So, but it was which was weird. They had like 3 shooters, which was fine. But the guy comes up on his like little monopod, and we're already talking. So it was just me, Sarah, and then one of our friends. Where we're just, just chatting in the cocktail area. And he comes up and is just like, hey, so I need you guys to just kind of talk and mingle, and I'm going to get this shot. And like, I'm just like, oh, so you want me to keep doing what I'm doing now? That's what I said. And he kind of like looked at me, and I'm just like, we're already doing that. You could have just shot it. And he just goes, oh, okay. And so he starts shooting, and I'm just like, my bad, man. He goes,
You're mean.
but like, you could tell that he was new, and because so I don't know about you, but for me, I don't do that because it becomes very posy, and you could tell it's posy. If you want to just have a candid shot, just shoot around.
Just get it.
Just
get
be
it.
a ninja, go around.
Sure, I hear what you're saying. However, the way you went about it as an experienced veteran, this could have been a nice teaching moment
No.
where afterwards you just said, hey man, I notice when I shoot these things that if I don't say anything, it's a little less posed.
No.
Instead,
So you want me to do what I'm doing now?
What I heard was you slapped that camera right out
Yeah,
of his
I heard
hands.
it. I heard
and
you
said,
call
"Let
him."
me."
Yeah, I just Will Smith him.
oh gosh.
Just from completely smacked
Ay,
him.
ay,
No.
ay.
Did you just date this episode? You just dated us.
Dated us?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
they should be dated. They know it's done weekly.
So,
But-
topic at hand.
So yeah, it's I just thought it was funny. They were doing a lot of those moments, especially with dancing, and I'm just like, you need to just
Guys,
Yeah.
keep on
just
dancing.
keep
Yeah.
Go ahead.
like
Oh yeah, there's nothing that like makes you feel more awkward than when you're like, yeah, I'm actually gonna film you right now from what you were just doing a second ago.
Okay, go.
no, it's like you don't have to present yourself. Like
No.
it was different if he came up to me and was just like, hey, can you say a couple words to the bride and groom?
That's where I thought this was going.
Yeah, no.
Just keep mingling.
No, it was like no. He came up. He was just like, "Hey, I need you guys like to keep mingling and stuff like that." And like we were already like laughing and talking, and we all had drinks in our hands, just hanging out. So it was just kind of that weird moment of like, it became awkward because now we weren't talking. I was like just saying random shit to make it look like I was talking. I'm just like, yeah, so I'm going to keep talking to you guys and you're going to start laughing. And they both, Sarah and Melanie, start laughing. And I'm just like, yeah, and so like, I was just saying like those and he's like, yeah, that was good. I'm like, good. I'm just like, all right. So it was just
Yeah, I
that,
was to say, you're lucky I'm an actor.
that moment. Yeah. Jeez. Gosh.
I'm the charge for that one.
But yeah, it was cool. But to kind of roll in as a transition, this week we're going to be talking about gift giving towards the bride and groom and stuff like that. And Gabby actually came up with this suggestion of like talking about it, and I think it was actually really interesting. It's the factor of what is happening now with generation, which I kind of was talking about back a couple episodes ago on everything is becoming digital. Like, are we getting away from the just more physical aspect of things in the weddings? And I think what's happening is with the Zola and the Knot and stuff like that, where you're
Even
able to, and Amazon, where you're able to do these, what is it called? What is that called? The
registry?
registry
Virtual
stuff.
registry,
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with Amazon.
Are you doing with Amazon specifically?
Yes.
Very cool.
So,
It's
but
so easy.
It was the first suggestion. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm already
oh,
on
yeah.
Amazon.
Cool, 'cause
Yeah.
what's not on Amazon?
Yeah.
Everything.
100%.
Is on
And
Amazon.
so, but the thing is you're able to put your home address on there. People order and it'll immediately ship to your house. And
Yeah.
it makes sense for them because they live in Orlando. So they moved, they came here for the wedding and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I
and
didn't
so,
even think about that.
and so they live in Orlando. So, and also today they're, on the flight right now to Cancun. So they're not going to be even home for a couple weeks from now.
right.
And
so any like late, like, oh shoot, I forgot to get them a gift. I'll grab it on Friday and it'll be delivered on Monday.
And so Gabby actually said something about like, the whole
Yeah, the
gift
interesting
tables.
thing was I found a post, somebody was talking about it, and they said they found it weird that at the end of the night, they only had about 4 cards worth of like some cash in or a gift card or whatever it was. And they're like, yeah, I invited 150 people. Is this becoming the new norm? Or like, obviously they had some gifts received prior, but a ton of their guests were also missing giving gifts as well.
Okay.
So
it's not just
what
like
what I was curious about is, I mean,
Oh.
obviously there is that shift that we're making of sending those gifts early or just, or even after. I mean, I know that's technically acceptable for up to 1 year after the
Wow.
wedding to receive a gift from somebody. So she mentioned that too. She's like, I know I have a year that maybe these guests are just a little delayed in that, but like, I think the numbers from the coordination I've done too, there has not been any gifts on tables and mostly just cards and boxes and not many of those either. So
Okay,
I'm
so
just curious.
my question
why.
is this: how long have you, Emma, and yourself has lived together?
Working on 2017 to now. Was it 5 years?
Okay. How long have you and Garrett been living together?
officially together 2.
Okay. And then for Sarah and I has been 9.
Right.
So already I'm going to
yeah.
answer this is we've all have been in, or we're all in a relationship where none of us are married technically
Yeah.
yet. And we've already living with our significant others.
Because it's the smarter way to do that.
And well, yeah, because you're limiting out and stuff like that and just experiencing things.
'Cause
Yeah, totally.
married life should not change your relationship.
So 100%. It should be just an easy transition of
Yeah.
like now we get more money in taxes
Yeah.
and
Relationship advice.
insurance and stuff like that becomes easier.
Insurance,
Like
that's the number
yeah.
one.
whew. So no, but like that's all it is. But other than that though, in the 9 years, we've bought
Yeah, anything
an
you
air
wanted.
fryer, a
Yeah,
blender,
exactly.
silverware sets,
Yeah.
picture frames,
Your normal
bed
gifts
sheets.
are
We bought
already
it.
taken care of.
Yeah,
We
I
bought a
don't-
new
yeah.
bed. We
I was
have
gonna
a
say,
house.
I have a 1-bedroom apartment. I can't fit more gifts into the house I have right now.
That's what I'm saying. So you're already accumulating gifts already.
Yeah.
On your own or buying stuff or like, Christmas comes around the corner, especially with my parents. I don't know why, but my parents always buys like home necessities for us for Christmas, which is fine. But we're already getting everything new. Like the only thing that I may want is like a new like knife set. But like other than that, like
And that's where like, I'm
what-
like, yeah, there's a couple things here and there I'd like to get, but like I don't want to register for something. I'd rather do the research myself, take that, whatever cash I get and buy it. Have you guys, so you said you're registered with Amazon.
Yes.
Did
And we are
you-
struggling to find gifts or to come up with ideas in the first place.
That you actually want?
That
Yeah.
we would even need
Yeah.
or
Camera gear.
want.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is you're able to load up like Amazon gift cards, and that's going to go towards like honeymoon stuff, or
Okay,
we're going to
okay.
go put it towards rentals or whatever, something
Sure.
that can go towards
Yeah.
like just bills in general or something like that.
No.
So have you already been receiving those or
No.
no,
So
nothing?
I mean that's partially on our part because we're doing our invitations like evites and stuff. So trying to link that and have everything because we're up until like a month or 2 ago we had only just started to like look for guests and look for ideas and stuff, and so we had already kind of like sent out like the hey, say the date. So it's like okay, well let's do it on the RSVP thing with a touchback with our guests and like give them the link then because we didn't have anything when we first said hey we're getting married.
Right.
So that's been the issue, which is like getting stuff out because we haven't done anything yet. So
Okay.
nobody knows about the registry yet.
Okay.
'Cause we were still putting gifts on it.
Okay.
So that's a little
Gotcha.
case on that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's I think that's where the shift is happening is it's the untraditional factor of instead of back then where it was like you live separate until marriage and then you start, once now you have a house, it's like, well, we need everything.
Yeah. Well,
From
not to mention,
plates-
you say the word house. That's what ours is going towards, a dang down payment.
Yeah,
Because the
and-
housing market is garbage right now, and
Yeah.
that's really what we need.
And for us, we probably, like I said, with an exception of like maybe like 1 or 2 items that we're like, oh, okay, we don't want to just spend the money and we could just, throw it on there and, make it happen. Well, other than that, though, it's just going to be money to help us out with whatever, especially, whatever we want to do with it. But
Yeah.
it's just, I think that is
So do you
a
think that-
factor.
So do you think people are virtually sending money instead of just bringing a card to weddings?
It would make sense. I mean, like, I don't know, because you're way further than any of us for like things. Was there any sorts of, were we using Zola or not?
No.
Were you using anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm using Google's Sheets.
Okay. So
track.
for Zola, you're actually able to link a Venmo and PayPal. So I'll answer that because I have Zola.
So do I. Yeah, I haven't linked anything yet, but
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff digitally. Which once again, it's like, so it's funny because the reason why I'm really saying strongly that everything's going digitally is this is not even a wedding like reference, but just yesterday in the morning, I was going to get breakfast for Sarah and I, and we went to Dunkin', and in the middle of being in this long line, I forgot my wallet. But I have Apple Pay. So immediately we ordered And I'll get to the window and I go, hey, I don't have my wallet with me. Do you guys have Apple Pay? They're like, yeah, we do. Like already, like fast food place already has sources to do that already. Yeah. And it's just like we're already getting to that point where like this whole week, like I don't know why, but last week I kept forgetting my wallet. So anywhere that I went, Quick Trip, we went to Picasso's, we went all over this place. Like I would just not have my wallet with me, but I would be able to use my phone to pay for literally everything. And it kind of is an example of what I've been talking about for like almost a year now is, are we going to get to a point where we're not going to have any physical, like anything? It's going to be just all digital, all the quote unquote metaverse of like whatever the world is like.
There. Like you already have that option to be completely digital.
Yeah. And I just like the only thing that we need physically is with an ID. But once again, though, what's to say that they're going to eventually find a way that we could have virtual passports where you're able to have your ID and identifications and all that already on a digital form. Like that's the only thing that we're missing. Like if I was able to digitally have my ID with me, there's no point for me to have a wallet.
Right.
That's it. My insurance card for cars and stuff, I have a digital for AAA. Like, of course, all my payments, I could do all my payments there. I could order everything on my phone. Everything is in my hand. The only thing that I don't have is access to a driver's license, and especially for me traveling all the time, like I need that. So that's the only reason why I have a wallet. So the same thing with the weddings. It's like, is the physical aspect of gifts, are they just kind of depleting? Because like I said, on Friday, I was looking around for the guests for the table for the gifts, and there was none. Zero. And I asked her, I was like, hey, what did you guys do? And they're like, oh, we did it online. Everything's at home.
Right.
But our list was small though, because they've been living together for about 4 years.
Yeah.
So even then it's the same thing of, you're building these relationships already.
See, I'm more curious about the fact that guests seem to be not giving at all. Like, I wish we had somebody here that had already had a wedding to tell us the amount of people that came to their wedding and didn't give anything.
Well, I mean, we'll be able to in October.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
So
because, I just think that's so rude. But, I know it's obviously you're not breaking the law. You were invited to this, and you understand as someone having a wedding that it's possible that somebody might not give something. But I just think that is ridiculous. At least give back what they spent on your food and beverages, in my opinion.
So with that, if whether you're a guest or if it's your wedding, I guess you gotta take a read of what's the expectation, I guess. So like with me and with Emma too, asking people for money and gifts, it's not like in our forte to be like, yes, we want gifts and we want them now.
Right.
So even coming up, obviously, with the registry and stuff, it was like fourth, fifth, sixth thought of anything
right.
planning for the wedding.
Sure.
But then, like, going as a guest, I think I've only been to one wedding where I wasn't actually filming and stuff like that. But then I didn't stay as long. I think I just was only able to go for the ceremony, and that's it. Do you still get a gift? Do you still send them something? And then as the planners, do you then, what's your expectation for people who only stay partly? Are you expecting a gift from them because they're not partaking in the food?
Well,
but they still
I think the question is, did they RSVP for a meal, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Did you RSVP for a meal for that wedding? You only went to the ceremony?
Right. No, it was just like, hey, we're probably only going to make the ceremony because I know I didn't want to stay.
And I think then you don't owe a thing.
Yeah.
So that's different, but also I think a way to eliminate, because I know there's a lot of people too that it's kind of hard to be like, hey, give me money. Like I'm one of those people.
I'm similar.
But
too.
there's a way where, especially in Zola, where they have it with a tab of like where you're wanting your registry from, like you're able to customize it. And I've seen just recently the one that also in June I'm shooting, but I'm also invited. When we had to RSVP and they used the Knot, they had a tab for the registry, and it gave you like a list of things, and then in like an asterisk, it was like also would also appreciate just money or whatever,
Sure.
but is not like required. And so it's kind of like a way to say it without like saying like we kind of recommend it, but if it's not, then it's it's fine.
So I created our registry with it. Literally only has our a house fund, and I wrote this whole thing that basically just says like we don't expect anything at all, because I don't expect anything at all. But if you would like to give something, this is what we're doing. And I didn't register for any gifts, so I don't know if that's taboo. Some people say it is, but I'm just like, I don't want all those things, and I have to then return, and like, I don't know, it's just too much.
Like, so my question then is, would it? I'm just saying, like, well, let's say somebody, like, for example, you make nothing, no registry, nothing, and then a random like uncle of some sort comes in with a huge box of like a kitchen set. And, like, what do you do with that? Like, it's just obviously you
gift
take it.
Receipt is in there.
Like, yeah, like obviously you take it, but it's just like it's hard to like.
I think that's rude too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Is
I'm
like
we're
off
in
on this etiquette thing, but like
we're in a weird situation now. Like, I just feel like this generation for us is just very difficult, because a lot of our, like, for example, like I remember watching my parents' wedding video, and that was back in '92, and the videographer, like the morning after, was capturing them opening all their gifts, and I guarantee you, the age of where my parents are, that generation are now having kids that are now getting married as well, and they're expecting that same outcome because that's what they have seen their parents do.
I was just thinking, like, my grandma is going to throw a fit, because I'm sure in her mind she's like, oh, they need like a fine set of china.
Yeah.
No, I do not need a glass set of china. I'm never going to use.
No, it's just,
but that's what she thinks is the norm, right?
Yeah,
So what if I get a whole fine set of china from her? I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
Yeah, it's just that's the difficult part, because that's not what's happening anymore, and it's this weird like shift of just what is the norm and what is not anymore, and it's just very difficult, because I know for us, like, we've kind of set that tone of we're becoming untraditional, and then now Gen Z behind us are even worse with they don't want anything to deal with any sorts of thing. They want to do their own sakes of everything.
Yeah.
And
well, at what point does it not become non-traditional anymore? Because I feel like the traditional these days now is to do like ceremony and reception at the same location that's not a church, and everything's online. Like, that's now traditional. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know what sets, because we're talking about it. Like, I don't know. I mean, eventually, like, you have the innovators, and like people are setting the actual tone of creating certain trends, or what's tradition or what's not. But I think what I could fully say right now is the bar of a tradition for a wedding is obviously whatever religions you are. You're going to a church. That's the ceremony. Like, you're doing that, and then you're ending it at a banquet hall or some sort of thing that just has space where you could just eat food, give gifts, and just hang out until it's done. And then that's pretty much the traditional style, of course.
See, and I think that's the minority of weddings we'll be seeing anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And it's just
then like our kids,
tuxedos all black.
What are they going to be doing?
I don't know.
What kids?
Exactly.
Well, first up, yeah, I was
No, thank
I wasn't not going to say that, but whatever. It is what it is.
Speaking of
You know what I
non-traditional,
mean. You know what I mean.
Honestly, if this metaverse thing actually happens, everything is going to be a metaverse. Like, because you have the NFTs that are happening, which are actual sources of art that you could pay for, and just
What
everything.
a ridiculous concept that
Like,
is, honestly.
It's ridiculous, but it's going to happen though. It's just that's how it is. It's I could see relatively the next 15, 20 years, we'll see our first metaverse wedding, where everybody will sign in, have their own little avatar, and they have like a party just online.
Stop it.
I bet sooner than that.
You don't believe it?
I think it's so.
I mean, you can.
I believe
Have you-
it.
have you-
People,
I
someone's gonna
obviously
do it.
Have you
believe
seen
it.
Have you seen Ready Player One?
No.
Okay. Have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know about you, but that's going to happen in like 50 plus years, because what it is happening is you're escaping reality. Like, you could have a fantasy on the game, and that's why most people love playing games, is because you're escaping reality. And that's why gaming is such a powerful thing now currently, because like I enjoy it where, I'm sitting Saturday night playing whatever, like I'm not focusing on the stress of having to go do like a video, or like I'm escaping the world, and like just being able to just kind of tap into something that is a de-stressor for me. And so this virtual reality metaverse, it's going to happen, and I know it is. And I'm not saying like I'm not avid to it. I'm not like advocating like I'm going to be doing it or whatever, but there's going to be a point in time though that there are going to be moments, because there already are with the metaverse. There are people clocking in and doing virtual jobs and actually getting paid real money for it. Like, there's people like working in virtual shops,
Like the virtual Walmart.
in a way, but there's like different shops or different like appearances or whatever, like little
Oh my goodness.
characters where they're actually they punch in, they work for however long, and they're actually getting paid for it already. Like, it's already happening.
Good for them.
So
Yeah, do you need to get a gift if you go to a virtual wedding where you don't actually get real food or alcohol?
you just give them like NFTs.
So my solution, if you wanted to give them electronic anything as a gift, whether it be through Amazon or through the Metaverse or whatever kind of electronic gift, I think you should still go the physical route to get them a card. You don't have to put any money in it, but like still having that
Really?
like physical thing to it, to just like, hey, I got a card for you. You have something physical to remember from your wedding for us specifically. Even if you write on the guest book, cool. If you send them something through the internet, awesome. I think you should still like throw
Give them some sort of keepsake.
Some sort of keepsake, something, and that, I mean, you used to do that for brides and grooms, anyways, and through like DVDs. You don't send DVDs anymore. You don't do Blu-rays anymore.
No.
At the very least, you'll do a USB as something physical to like keep from their wedding day. So I think that's another tag on that.
Yeah, because I went from handing out DVDs to handing out USBs to now I just retransfer it. I just, here's a zip file of all your videos. Have a nice day.
The USB, they'll have the digital downloads forever.
Yeah,
But
it's like
Yeah.
here you
still
go.
get a little something custom
Like-
made for them that looks nice that they can keep in a box on the shelf.
Yeah, that they lose immediately.
I stopped doing physical. I just, unless somebody asks, they're like, hey, what do you have? I'm like, I can do USB. They're like, DVDs? I go, nope. If you want DVDs, you could get it yourself or you use somebody else. Like there's a point where it's
That's
just,
a process.
it's difficult. It's,
compared to
I had to do it, and it's just the amount of times I get emails, because it was right when I started. And once again, though, that was like the norm, was giving DVDs out, and immediately it didn't matter. Every single couple that I had, they would come back going, it's not working, or it's jumpy, or it's whatever, and I'm just like, this is pointless. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just throw it on a USB drive. You guys will figure it out. And I'll just do that. And then that's when I was just like, I only do USB drives. I'm not doing DVDs ever again, unless I got it done at like a professional place.
Sure.
The DVDs are almost useless at this point. So
Well, now, which I think is interesting, is when you buy a DVD or a Blu-ray, you get a digital code for a digital copy of it.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
the
that's
digital downloads.
amazing.
So yeah, so it's literally all you're
yeah, you're
doing.
like, you can keep the CD. I don't need that.
All you're doing, which it makes no sense, because at this point, just have a huge shelf of digital codes, and you buy the digital code, you scratch off the digital code in the back, punch it into whatever library you're using the source from, and then you're good. Like, why can't we just do that? Like, because I mean, we already do that for currencies for gaming and stuff like that, where you're buying Steam cards or Xbox cards or Microsoft cards or iTunes cards. Like, you're already buying gift cards and then putting the money into redeemable thing. Why are we not doing that for DVDs? Like, I get it, physical copies, I get the collections, I get the steel books, I get the collectibles of like certain outsources of DVDs and Blu-rays and all that. Totally understand the collectible side of things. But even then, though, if we're already doing that, already streaming movies because 2020 messed that up, where basically the movie theater is all jacked up. Like it's just now focusing on everything's all digital, which goes back to what I've been saying. It's a weird. It sucks because I feel like growing up, it's just we've always been in this weird like situation of like, okay, I'm older than Google. Like it's just weird like how like I could say that where it came out and then now everyone's like they just know Google.
Yeah.
But
it becomes the new normal, but then something else becomes the new normal. Yeah.
It's just weird to say that. And then it's like and then we went from that to experiencing Facebook, like one of the first platforms besides like AIM and AOL, like chats and stuff like that. But Facebook.
Honorable mention MySpace.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you got MySpace that came out,
right.
and then immediately, and then
and it's gone.
And it's gone, but it's somehow back ish. So I don't know. It is. Yeah, they made it come back.
Interesting.
It's more just like the hipsters that are.
Okay, so back to this. Tell me if I'm like way off on this because I
know we went on a weird tangent.
I know. Tell me if I'm way off. To me, weddings are a transaction of sorts. So say you're getting married on.
We give you a party, you give us gifts.
Saturday, right?
It's a Sunday.
A Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, okay. Let's say somebody's wedding is on a Saturday, right?
Okay.
Sure.
They've got ceremony at 11 a.m.
Okay.
And then. Yeah. Oh, this is how it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be ceremony early, and then your guests would leave.
Right.
For like 4 hours.
Yeah, to go.
Like, what are you supposed to do for 4
elsewhere?
hours?
Yeah. Well, now your guests are going to probably have lunch somewhere, where they pay for their lunch there, and then they come back. Not to mention they've wasted their entire Saturday, and then they come back at 5 to sit around and wait, and then they have dinner and drinks and all that stuff and good blah blah blah. But you have spent your entire Saturday for this, a little extra of your money and time, and then, okay, you get you get your food and beverage back at the end of the night. But still, you would give a gift, right? Because they paid for those things, so then you give back that. Am I off on that, or?
I mean, you're right, and that sounds like how it used to be.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember doing the whole ceremony, and then we would go home and sit at home for like 4 hours, and then it was like time for the reception. But like once again, like for example, Friday, Silver Oak Chateau, that's where it was at. Ceremony was at 4:00. Immediately after the ceremony at 4:00, we went straight inside to the cocktail hour, and we were just chilling in the cocktail hour for about an hour and a half to almost 2 hours, but mainly more an hour and a half. It was long because something happened where they needed to go and do some more photos.
Shocking.
And then also the family photos took long because once again, family reunion. Woo. So a lot of things kind of backed it up a little bit, but they were just kept rolling in with the hors d'oeuvres, and the drinks were flowing, and we were feeling good, and like it was chill, and because it was thing is like. That made sense. It was ceremony, cocktail, went inside, had some sugar fire, danced a little bit, had fun, had grandma's cookies, and we dipped. Like it was dope. Like that's how I like it. It would just went boom, 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 boom. You're done. Like you didn't have to like go in one location, then like an hour later go to somewhere else, and just the whole traveling thing is just weird to me.
Right. But then on the flip side of things, I know like if you're going to have a location wedding and your guests are going to have to book their own room and blah, 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 I would say I'm not expecting a gift from them because I wouldn't be giving one if I'm already in like $300 for a hotel stay for a few nights, and then all the, buying myself whatever I need while I'm there that's not during your wedding, all that. I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
So they had the Drury Inn in Chesterfield, and everybody stayed there. And so Friday nights they had the wedding. Well, she was actually there since like Wednesday, which I thought that was kind of interesting. But after Friday nights, on that Saturday, she was telling us, because we were hanging out with them yesterday, because that's a whole different story, but there were some videographers and the photographers missed some stuff, and she called and was just really upset from us. So like, they forgot it. We'll take care of you. So I'll tell you more about that. But they all stayed at the Jewelry Inn in Chesterfield, and they were explaining that they were down in the lobby for the entire day, for 12 hours straight. They were sitting there and just having people come and just talk to them. And I thought it was the weirdest thing ever.
No.
And they're just like,
yeah, that's becoming a thing, like the brunch after.
yeah,
That's like
they had basically. She was like, I feel like I'm in an Indian wedding, because it was like Friday night was the big shebang of everything, but then Saturday there were still people trying to like leave. And so they were just chilling at the hotel the whole time in the lobby, and they just kept coming and kept talking to them, and they never left. And then Sunday they went back to her parents' house, but once again, like when we rolled up to the place, there was like 40 people there, and they were still eating like leftovers from the wedding.
That's so exhausting.
But they were they like start ordering more food. They start ordering like Jersey's Mike's and like pizzas, and like they're just they're just all there, just still mingling.
Right.
And then the groom, his name was Thomas, he was outside. I kind of went up to him. I was like, dude, how are you feeling? He's like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, this is exhausting. Like social
media
battery.
has
And like, and
So draining.
luckily they're going to Cancun, where there's a place like all exclusive, and like they get to relax and stuff like that. But
yeah, he's like, when is my flight?
they were just exhausted,
I
and
don't doubt it.
so
Here's another side of this. Would you say that, do you think that bridesmaids and groomsmen are expected to give a gift?
bridesmaid and groomsmen giving a gift to each other,
No, to the bridal party.
to the bridal party, like
Or,
a
sorry, to the couple. So the day comes for the wedding. Will you see a gift from bridesmaid number one?
Oh, so you're saying like the bridesmaid? Okay, interesting.
Because in my opinion, the answer is hell no. Because I imagine unless you have paid for their dress,
Attire, and then
hair and
their
makeup,
pay or
and all they
anything
had to
extra.
do was show up, that's different.
See,
to me.
that's kind of sticky. That's like a sticky situation, and I'll elaborate on that. It's
Just
because
gotta not have it.
because they're usually your close friends.
well, no, I think it's more of an honor thing of like you've been a part of my life for so much. Like, I want to honor you for you being a part of my like wedding party. And I think it was more traditionally of like, you're wanting them to be a part of something even larger. Like, they're not just guests, like they're like honorable guests. And so they're treated differently. They're sitting at the head table. They are, they go and take more photos than everybody else. They're
it's a job.
they're a part
Yeah.
of more than just being just a normal wedding guest. And so
I can see that.
giving gifts to them, I totally get that. I like, especially like for me, like making like a custom box for all of them and like giving them things.
I think that's for sure
I'm-
the standard.
I'm enjoying that because it's an honor for the people that I asked to sit next to me to
Yeah.
get married. Like, it's more of an
Right.
honor thing for
Little more
them.
appreciation.
Not to mention all the
So-
lead up to it. If you
Now-
have a bachelorette party and they plan that
Yeah.
for you, bridal shower, all
So
that stuff.
I think that your answer is there is you give them the honor to do all that, but then they flip around and technically should be spending money / setting everything and planning things out for your bachelorette party, where you're having fun, where you're not planning anything out. They have everything all taken care of, and you should not be touching your debit card or anything to
Right.
pay throughout that day. They should be taking care of all that.
Okay.
So technically,
you think that's their gift?
I feel like that's their gift
I
in
agree.
a way.
I agree.
And that makes sense.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because it's likely they'll be spending way more than any guest will either, too.
Yeah. And I just that's the one thing is like, it's more of an honor for somebody sitting there, because it's like because it's definitely the people that are part of my party. It's like people that have been the thick and thin type of style. It's not just somebody that I randomly like. It's not like my random neighbor that I met.
Well, and the funny thing is, I think that most true friends would give one anyways, just because.
I mean, they will. They probably will. Honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Or at least drop a card in the box.
Yeah.
Drop the card in the box,
Yeah.
saying thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah, I'd like
Is
to
there-
know if anybody's listening and they had a wedding recently. I would like to know the average of the number of guests that gave gifts. Not because I'm greedy, or am I?
So yeah, I could actually. So there's on Spotify, I'm able to actually answer a question to everybody, and they could actually answer that. So I'll put that in.
Cool.
If not, if you're just watching on YouTube or whatever, put it in the comments. That'd be super cool.
Or email us at weddingsmadeperfectpodcast
Yep.
at gmail.com.
Or find us individually. My phone number is 31.
Jesus. So no, it's definitely find us somewhere and put it whatever. I know there's people watching because there's a ton of people watching. They're out there. I totally forgot. I have been asking questions and I've been kind of like letting them go and people are actually answering them. I'm kind of waiting until the deadline ends. But there has been a few questions that I think the next podcast will go over of them. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Because people are actually writing them down, which I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll wrap this up for this podcast. Just kind of a quick recap. If you want to give a gift, definitely, we recommend you doing that. We're not saying you should or should not, but it's on. And the power of the thing is like, you got to understand it is not cheap if you get invited to go to a wedding. Mm-hmm. So normally you are sourced for not only food, but also for the drinks and the dessert and the venue.
Photo booth that you get your picture from.
Everything you could think of pretty much when you're at the end of it, each person's roughly like $100, $150 a piece. It's pretty much how it is.
That's cheap.
Like that's on the cheaper end too. So like with everything all together. So just make sure that you at least.
If you don't know, ask.
Yeah.
Do you expect a gift? Do you have a registry? Where's it at? Is it online? Can I give you a card still? Give them a card still.
Yeah.
100%. But thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Ty, and I have Gabby and Tristan. And we're Wedding Made's Perfect Podcast. Thank you so much.